Hello, everybody. The question I want to talk to you about today is what exactly is education? Well, most of us understand education to simply mean acquiring knowledge, but some people expand that to say, well, if you acquire understanding of something that's not just raw knowledge, or you acquire an ability, all of those go into the understanding of what is education. But how do we acquire education? Well, generally, I like to break it down into three broad categories. First, you have people, then you have experience, and then you have formal education, that is directed learning. And I should use the word formal education cautiously because that, in most people's mind, is going to beget some understanding of you go to a formalized school or higher education or something like that. Well, I'm speaking more broadly than that. I'm saying that it includes any form of directed learning where your objective is to acquire more knowledge, to increase understanding, and ultimately to develop more skill in something. So, those three areas. So, let me begin with the first one people. The people that you grow up around, the people who raise you, the people who are in your life and influence you, are going to have a profound impact on not only what you know, but your ability to acquire knowledge because their disposition towards acquiring knowledge affects you. What I mean is that you are more likely to assimilate to their approach to the acquisition of knowledge, and you are going to value largely what your community and those around you values. So if they put a great deal of value on having knowledge, having wisdom, having understanding, having ability, then you likewise are going to value those things. So you'll see different populations, different individuals, different family sets, different communities value this type of learning or understanding differently. Some may put more emphasis on the ability to do things or to perform at a given level. Others may put more emphasis on the ability, once again, to reason through things and ultimately come to a logical conclusion to know how to acquire the knowledge that you need to process information to get from point A to point B. And other people simply respect the idea of having a lot of acquired knowledge. But I will say that that is waning given the technological innovations, internet, ChatGPT, or other LLM models that give you information readily at your fingertips. So actually holding a great deal of knowledge in your head is less valuable, except to the extent that the knowledge that you hold is necessary for the ability to process things, to use that knowledge to arrive at a conclusion. So basically, you are acquiring knowledge for your ability to process that knowledge and apply it in given situations. So you could say that that really falls into the category of understanding. The next category is experience. So while individuals around you, their beliefs, their dispositions influence you, your experiences with them or without them influences you as well. But mainly your experiences with other people, who you come into contact with, how you come into contact with them, such as the scenario, the setting, the context of the situation, the attitude that they bring and that you bring to the meeting between you two. If you meet people in a professional setting versus a very informal setting, or a setting that is emotional in nature versus one that's more excited and exuberant, it's all going to affect how you interact with someone else. But it's from these interactions and the experiences that you have that you begin to have some knowledge or understanding about how the world works, as we say. That is, how people are going to react in a given situation. If you do something, how others are going to respond to that. And the physical aspects, even if you're not dealing with other human beings, if you do this thing, how is that physically in nature going to cause a reaction? That is, if you pull on this branch, is it going to slap back? So you acquire this base understanding not generally from someone telling you about it or reading about it. You acquire this from actually doing it. The first time you pull a branch and let it go and you see it slap back, then that experience is ingrained in you and you start to understand the mechanics of how that physical interaction works. So there's this very important part of education or knowledge, understanding, ability that comes from interacting with others or just interacting with the world. Those experiences teach you how to understand what's going to happen and gives you something to build upon to increase your knowledge. And then lastly, we have formal education, which again I simply mean as directed learning. That is, you have the intention of acquiring knowledge, meeting other people, or having an experience that you will learn from. Your entire purpose is to acquire some level of knowledge or understanding about how things work so that, one, you will be able to use that. So, once again, this is generally the focus of school. School brings you in, gives you a set of work, says focus on this, try it, it's an experience, do it in a classroom with other people. You're going to do work together. And so you're taking the elements of the person and the experience together with the directed purpose of acquiring knowledge. It's not passive in nature the way it is through the other experiences. And this type of learning tends to be painful. This is how individuals tend to set themselves apart from others. Some people become very worldly and very knowledgeable by passive activity. You just get older, and as they say, you get wiser because of the experiences that you have. But many people acquire extensive knowledge through that directed study. They value it, they take it in, and they're able to wield it in order to increase their knowledge further. And the more you learn, the more you can learn. You see this many times with many high-performing scholars or intellectuals or people in specific career fields or practice where they need that level of knowledge and understanding to carry out their function or path. Now, I will caution to say that there's very little correlation between intelligence and success. It's generally a correlation between diligence and success. But oftentimes the diligence that is required is in the way of knowledge and understanding about things. So there's a diligence there for directed learning that's applied to a given scenario that can make you successful in a given career field or path. So this is my definition, and these are the components of my definition of what constitutes learning and education. If you have some different understanding or belief about what is education, we'd love to hear it. Jump down in the comments, go over to thebusinessprofessor.com, start a discussion in the forums. But regardless, I hope to see you around the platform sometime soon. Until then, take care.